So you've been doing everything right from what I'm hearing. You're taking a GLP-1, you're eating less, and you're exercising. That's great. The scale was moving a few weeks ago. You were 5 pounds down, 10 pounds down, hell, you're even 20 pounds down. And then suddenly, nothing. Scale hasn't moved in 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Hell, maybe it's even been a month since the scale has moved. So now you're left wondering, did my GLP-1 stop working? What am I doing wrong? Do I need a higher dose? Or maybe you're just thinking, well, is this it? If you've ever experienced anything like that, I want you to know something right away. A weight loss plateau does not automatically mean that your GLP-1 has stopped working. And in today's episode, I'm going to explain exactly what's happening so you know whether you've actually plateaued. And I'm going to tell you the 4 things that I would look for before changing anything. Welcome back to After the Shot. Almost everyone who loses a significant amount of weight is going to experience some sort of weight slowing. It's inevitable. So the question isn't whether your weight loss is going to slow down. The question is, what do you do when it does? But before we get into that, it's time for today's Truth Shot. And this is the segment where we separate internet myths from what the evidence actually tells us. Today's myth, well, if the scale stops moving and your GLP-1 has stopped working, you hit a weight loss plateau. Well, the truth is, weight loss with GLP-1 medications does not continue at the exact same rate forever. In fact, in the Step 1 semaglutide trial, average weight loss continued for many months and reached its lowest peak around the 60-week mark before the 68-week assessment. In Surmount 1, researchers specifically reported that participants reached a weight loss plateau in the 5 mg tirzepatide group and near plateaus in the higher dose groups. This is cited in the New England Journal of Medicine. So a slowing of weight loss isn't necessarily failure. It's actually something that we see a lot in clinical trials. The takeaway is don't panic, relax, settle down. First thing I want you to do is figure out, have you actually plateaued? Has your weight been the same for the few weeks? Because if that's the case, let's talk about weight loss plateaus. So what exactly is a weight loss plateau? Well, here's what social media gets completely wrong. You weigh yourself on Monday, Tuesday, it's the same. You weigh yourself on Wednesday, now you're up half a pound all of a sudden. You weigh yourself on Thursday, and you're down now 0.2 pounds. You weigh yourself Friday, same as it was on Monday. So suddenly you're thinking, wow, I guess I've plateaued. No, that's not a plateau at all. Your body weight is going to fluctuate day to day because of things like water retention, sodium intake, carbohydrate intake, bowel movement, menstrual cycles, inflammation from training, and simply how much food and liquid is in your digestive system. So if you're going to track your weight, don't obsess over the individual weigh-ins because that's not realistic. You got to look at the trend. It's like the stock market. Look at the upward trend, or I hope downward trend here. So if your average body weight on a week-to-week basis is still gradually moving down over several weeks, well, guess what? You're making progress. You may just not be seeing it in one particular morning. And this is why I care so much more about the trends than the individual numbers, because you're not going to like what you see. But coach, what if the trend really has stopped? Okay, well, let's say you've looked at your data. You've been consistent and your average weight hasn't really moved for several weeks. Now, this is where we start talking about an actual plateau. And this is where things actually get a little interesting. Because you see, your body isn't the exact same as it was at 20, 30, or 40 pounds heavy from where you were right now. You weigh less. You're carrying less mass. You're moving through a completely different body space. And that means, well, energy requirements are going to change. Think about it this way. If you have to carry a 250-pound body around all day, you're going to expend much more energy than carrying a 200-pound body around. So as you lose the weight, your body is generally going to require less energy to maintain its new and smaller size. Stick with me here. At the same time, people can unconsciously move less as well. Maybe you're taking fewer steps. Maybe you're sitting more. Maybe your workouts aren't as hard as they used to be. Or maybe you're not even aware that you've changed your daily activity. And suddenly, well, the calorie deficit that existed in the beginning of your journey isn't necessarily a caloric deficit at the end of your journey, or at your current stage, I should say. And that's one reason why weight loss naturally slows down over time. And this isn't some unique GLP-1 phenomenon. It's a fundamental part of the weight loss physiology in general. Welcome to the 4-step plateau audit. So what should you actually do? Before you immediately decide that your medication isn't working for you anymore, I want you to run what I call the plateau audit. 4 things, write it down. Number 1, Check your data. First, look at the trend, like I said. Not Monday's weight, not yesterday's weight. Don't look at the chicken wings weight last night. Look at several weeks of data and ask yourself, has my average weight actually stopped decreasing or has it maintained the same? Because if you're still seeing that downward trend, you don't have a problem to solve. Go about what you're doing. Clearly, you have a process that's working. Don't fix what's broken. Simple. Number 2, check your food. Now, this one, well, it can be uncomfortable, but it's important to understand. As people lose weight, they sometimes become more relaxed with their nutrition. I do it all the time. And I want you to know this isn't a bad thing, but the small changes are certainly going to add up. A little extra oil while you're cooking, a few extra bites while you're prepping dinner, larger portions, more restaurant meals, even a couple of drinks on the weekend, because I mean, who doesn't have those? A handful of snacks that maybe weren't in the pantry 3 months ago. None of these things are individually going to seem significant, but when you add them up together, well, it shrinks your caloric deficit that you created earlier in your journey, because all these things add a few calories at a time, and in the overall grand scheme of things, you're adding a few hundred to even 1,000 calories. Now, I'm not telling you to obsess and track every single calorie, but I mean, I don't even think anyone needs to. However, if your progress has genuinely stalled, well, it can be useful to audit your food intake and see whether you're currently still matching your eating patterns for your goal. It's awareness first, restriction second. And just like that, round number 3, check your movement. This is one of the most overlooked pieces. You may be going to the gym 3, 4, 5 times a week. Amazing, you're a gym bro. But what are you doing for the other 23 hours of the day? Did you forget about those? If you're training hard for the hour, but spending the rest of the day sitting or sleeping, well, your overall activity is still relatively low. And this is where NEAT comes into play. Non-exercise activity thermogenesis. Basically, well, it's all the movement you do outside of formal exercise. Walking, standing, cleaning, jittering, shivering, taking the stairs, moving around at work, turning your head, running errands. All these little things add up that is outside of deliberate exercise. So when people lose weight or eat less, they can sometimes unconsciously move less because you have less energy. So one of the first things I look at during weight loss plateau is simple. How many steps am I actually getting? Are you getting your 10K steps? Not how many steps did I get on that one amazing Saturday? I went out to the city, walked around for 7 hours straight, and got like 25K steps. That's not a day-to-day basis activity. And if you see that your average has dropped significantly, increasing your daily movement may be a smarter first move than immediately slashing your calories even more, because eventually, well, you're going to be eating ice cubes and drinking water. Number 4, final one, check your muscle. Mine looks pretty good. And this is where everything that we've talked about in the previous episodes start to come together now. Protein intake, resistance training, recovery, muscle preservation. Because I don't want you to solve a weight loss plateau by simply eating less and doing more cardio. That's how you get rid of all your muscle. It's not the answer. Your goal is to make sure that the number on the scale falls as quickly as possible without losing as much muscle as possible. I want you to lose your fat, not your muscle. So remember our previous episode? I bet you didn't watch it. Go look at it now. Protein, resistance training, the 2 biggest levers that you can control. So if you've plateaued, ask yourself this one question. Am I still getting enough protein throughout the day? Am I still resistance training consistently? Am I recovering properly? Am I sleeping properly? Am I doing everything that I can to control my weight loss? Because sometimes the answer isn't just eat less. The answer is, let's make sure the fundamentals are actually in place before I start complaining about things I can't control. So should you increase your GLP-1 dose? Well, this is where I want to be very clear. Do not make medication changes based on a TikTok video. Don't increase or decrease your medication, and don't change your schedule because the scale hasn't moved for 2 weeks. You're just going to be going in an endless cycle and you're not going to make progress. Medication dosing should only be discussed with your prescribing clinician. Any weight loss plateau is 100% reason enough to have a conversation with your healthcare provider. Don't be scared of that. But it isn't automatically a reason to change your medication, and don't do anything without their advice or recommendation. But here's the bigger picture. Zoom out for a second. In the step 1 trial, the people receiving a semaglutide 2.4 milligram plus lifestyle intervention lost about 14.9% of their initial body weight by week 68. About 69% lost 10%, and roughly 50.5% lost about 15%. Now, obviously, that's not a straight line. I threw a bunch of numbers at you, but what does it mean? Real weight loss looks like this: down, 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 pause, up, down again, pause, small increase, down, down. Maybe you're pausing. Maybe that's maintenance. The internet is going to make you think that progress should look like a perfectly declining line, but real physiology does not work that way. And this is why I don't want you judging your entire weight loss journey based on what the scale said this week, next week, or the week before. Look at the bigger trend. Look at your waist. Look at your strength. Look at your clothes. Look at your energy. Most importantly, check your habits, check your consistency. The scale is just one data point in the entire journey. It's not the entire story. So here's what I want you to do if you're currently experiencing a true weight loss plateau, not a subjective plateau. Number one, look at your multi-week weight trend, not individual weigh-ins. Number two, audit your current food intake and your portions. Number three, check your daily average movement and your steps. Number four, make sure protein and resistance training are still your number one priorities. And last but not least, number five, if you've made all those adjustments and you're still concerned about your progress, talk to your prescribing clinician before making any medication changes. That's it. Simple. Don't panic. Don't starve yourself. And don't suddenly add 2 hours of endless cardio because you're going to hate it. Your body's going to hate it. And most importantly, definitely don't assume that the medication has stopped working because the scale has moved for a couple of weeks. A plateau isn't the end of your progress. Sometimes it's actually the point where you realize that your strategy needs to evolve and it's time for you to take a little bit more action. It's going to really determine how much you want it. And that's one of the biggest differences between someone who loses weight temporarily and someone who loses weight over the course of their life and learns how to manage it. They don't panic, they adapt. And that's the skill I want you to develop today. Because the shot creates the opportunity, but learning how to respond when things aren't perfect, well, that's what creates sustainability. In the next episode of After the Shot, we are going to talk about something again that I might think is the most controversial part of the GLP-1 journey. Is your GLP-1 actually causing you to lose your muscle? We've talked about muscle loss already, but I'm going to take it one step further and break down the exact body composition studies, what they actually show, and why the phrase "you're losing 40% muscle" gets thrown around online with absolutely no substance. But until then, remember this one thing. The shot is going to help you lose the weight. Your habits, well, they're going to help you keep it. See you in the next episode of After the Shot.